As it turns out, I was right again. Piecing things up as the show unfolds is really turning out to be a fun game, but more on that later. Hello good peoples of the internet and welcome back to a new Rogues review of the Winchesters. Today we tackle episode 5, Legends of a Mind. As usual, I'll take it for granted that you've watched the show before watching this, because spoilers are coming up ahead, so this is your warning to stop watching and get caught up before I tell you everything significant that happened in this episode. Alright, now let's get into why I said I was right in the beginning of this vid. Well, simply because I stated in a previous episode that Rocking Roxy was collecting the essences of the monsters that the gang slayed. Granted, it's a small thing to be right on, but I'll take whatever I can get, since there really wasn't much theorizing that could be done prior to this episode, since we're only starting to get into the thick of things. That being said, however, I'll try a theory on this collecting essence business. I think that Rocking Roxy is going to use those essence in order to perform a ritual, and that she'll need 7 creatures' essences in order to properly do said ritual. I've weighed my options here, first considering 13 essences, but since we know now that the show has not been picked up for a back end, which means that the show will only have 13 episodes instead of the usual 20 to 22 normal season length, they'll probably go for 7 since it's a magically powerful number and would better fit the number of episodes left. They could also go for 5 in order for the upcoming episodes not all being straight up creature hunts and ending with Rocking Roxy collecting the defeated creature's essence, since at this point the Ukrida have only collected 2. Alright, so enough theorizing for now, and let's talk about what actually happened in the episode and what new information we got. We learned that there is something attacking people in their dreams and that the gang finds evidence that there's a djinn in town, so naturally they assume that he's the one behind all of this. However, it turns out that he's Ada's son Tony, that he's half djinn, and that he's only trying to help people get past some of their traumas, and thus, whilst Tony was traveling through the dreams of the consulman that died in the intro, he learned that the Ukrida are using radio signals to attract rare monsters to Lawrence in order to collect their essences. This led the gang to investigate the connections between the recent victims of the Ukrida who died of this brain-scrambling thing that the Ukrida can do and have used unsuccessfully on Mary, thanks to Tony and John's help. And then the gang learns that all of the victims had something to do with the construction of a radio tower. They then come to the conclusion that Roxanne Gilbert, aka Rocking Roxy, is probably the person using said radio station to send the monster luring signal. As we jump to the location of Rocking Roxy, who is spinning a version of "I put a spell on you," we see that she's got an accomplice when a black man comes to tell her that they've failed to kill Mary Winchester, to which Roxy replies that it doesn't matter right now as long as they keep the hits coming. I kinda like that phrase, since to me this is a double entendre. On one hand, they'll keep trying to get rid of her, and on the other hand, the hits are the monsters that the gang will have to defeat to protect the human population, since hit is a common slang term for getting rid of someone permanently, if you catch my drift. So now that I've mentioned most of the important info from this episode, what did I think of it? Well, as per usual, I enjoyed it. John and Mary's relationship is still somewhat at a standstill, even if the two of them seems to be more and more attracted to one another as they learn all of their quirks. Everyone seems to understand that, but those two, which, speaking on personal experience, can be very true to life. I also enjoy seeing Ada and Tony's relationship being somewhat fixed after years of estrangements. It's once again realistic that all of this is not completely fixed between them after only one day. Also, Tony might come back to visit Lata in her dreams at some point, or at the very least write to her, so I'm happy for her if she finds herself someone special. She was thirsting so much over Kyle in the last episode that it's clear to see that Delaney needs to get some relationship soon. And now, what can we expect next? Are the gang going to try and capture monsters now instead of killing them in order to prevent the Ukrida gaining their essence afterwards? Who is that black accomplice of Roxy, and what role will he play in the upcoming installments? Will the gang head out to the radio tower to confront Roxy and confirm their doubts? Will Kyle come back in the fray, since John and Mary still seem unable to tell their feelings to one another? And will I be proven right about Kyle at some point for mistrusting him, or am I just a paranoid freak? Well, I guess we'll just have to wait and see and just sit tight in the meanwhile. So that's mostly what I've got for you today, hunters. I'm sure I've forgotten to mention some things that were of particular interest to you in this episode, so feel free to share with me your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below, and maybe leave a like if you appreciate my content. And with that, keep fighting the good fight and good hunting. Bye, hunters!